Secretary Perdue, good to be with you today. Since you left Washington, you're back here in Georgia. Tell everybody what you're up to.
Well, I'm breathing fresh air here in Bon Air, Georgia, and back with our family where I grew up. So we're delighted to be here. Certainly saddened for the reason that we're here prematurely, but nonetheless, glad to be back at home, glad to be back in Georgia, glad to be around family.
4 years in the Trump administration, you look back, you visited many people, many places across the country. When you look back on that time, what would you say is the highlight of your time as Secretary of USDA?
Kenny, what I found was, having grown up in Georgia, we thought that, we might have been special here, but the constituency that the president asked me to serve, farmers, ranchers, producers, foresters, all across this country, I came to realize are some of the best people on earth. Whether you go north, south, east, or west, the crops may be different, the accents may be different, and but really much the culture is so much the same, and the heart is so much the same. People who love the land, people who have an affinity for risk-taking, and get up every day with how they can do better. And I think really that's what President Trump saw in farmers and ranchers, demonstrating a real affection and affinity for them all over the country.
On that note, did you see politics in agriculture, or was there a lot of politics in agriculture as you served?
Well, not in Washington, D.C., never politics. But certainly, yes, there were politics there. But mostly, when I got to USDA, you may have remembered people talking about the deep state in these agencies. We didn't find that. We found over 100,000 people who just wanted to do good for agriculture, serve their customers and their constituents, being the farmers and ranchers. So we probably had the least political interference of any agency in the federal government that way. We just had good policies there that would enable there. I'm not one of these that think government creates jobs. We don't grow crops, but you provide a fertile environment by which hardworking farmers and ranchers can do exactly what they love to do.
Biggest challenge facing farmers and ranchers across the country right now, what would you say that is?
Well, now it's a little bit different than when we arrived. We were at a low point really for financial revenue and income there. It was really tough there. Revenue had slided on farms down from a peak of about 2013 down to the lowest level in 2016. Not many people know this, but they were talking about trade wars, but actually farm income increased every year, 17, 18, 19, and 20, and under the Trump administration. And we're proud of that because certainly some of those were transfer payments where the President and Congress were very generous to agriculture, understanding its importance. But the fact is we left what was called the trade wars actually turned out to be the President calling China's hand on that. And in 2020, the year that we finished, it was the highest record purchase from China of U.S. agricultural products. And we see prices back at levels that we had not seen since 2012 and 2013. So those are things that we're proud of. I'm not sure that story has been told in that way. We hear other things, but farming is tough. It's always been tough, and it's challenging and sometimes heartbreaking, but there's nothing more than the thrill of a good crop at a fair price.
Businessman, state senator, governor, secretary of agriculture, what's next for Sonny Perdue? People have got to be asking you to go here or do this. What is next?
Well, we're in talks with a lot of people, but my grandchildren, our 14 grandchildren, know me as Big Buddy and Nana. Mary is Nana. And so I think it's probably some Big Buddy time here to pay attention. 8 years out of their lives as governor, 4 years out of their lives as Secretary of Agriculture. That's a long time out of the life of a young person. So we've always been close to family. We have 8 grandchildren close around us here in Houston County, but all 14 in Georgia. So we hope to spend more time with family, but obviously I don't do a very good job sitting on the porch and rocking, so I'm sure there'll be other things there. We're in talks with people about how I can help them build businesses that are really impactful in the world and in the globe about feeding people. Our motto at USDA was to do right and feed everyone, which those are 5 words, but they're very profound. And we tried to do that and in that way. And one of the most fulfilling things at USDA was to watch a cultural change of really a motto of becoming the most efficient, effective, most customer-focused agency while doing right and feeding everyone.
What's Sonny Perdue's legacy? When it's all said and done, what's Sonny Perdue going to be remembered for doing for this country and for your fellow man?
Well, that's kind of an unfair question. Really, history will determine my legacy. I've never been too concerned about the legacy. I think biblically, as a believer, I believe you do the job that God calls you to do, and the history books will write whatever it is. So I think I've been blessed, so blessed in this country, in this state, in this community, to grow up with unconditional loving parents on a farm, and from my little bird dogs and horses and those kind of things to a great life as University of Georgia veterinarian, and then a captain in the Air Force, state senator, and then governor, and now Secretary of Agriculture. But honestly, nothing surpasses husband and grandfather and father. You noticed I put grandfather first.